Certainly day 5, we're moving on, 5 or 6, whichever one you're on. It's going well so far, mashallah. Today we've got a very, very special show. We are looking back at the history of Prince Philip, who sadly passed away about a week ago. And we just wanted to sort of look at his history, what he's done, not just for the UK, but for the Commonwealth. That's lots of countries over in Africa, the subcontinent, and what his contribution has been to the whole of the world and the Commonwealth in particular. It's something that we need to look at. And, I certainly didn't know a lot of his history, but in the last week, I have been really excited and really interested into listening to all the media and all the things that have been coming out over the last week about his life. And it made me really think really long and hard and think, how did we miss his contribution? How did we not realize what he'd done over those 73 years? He's done more in those 73 years. His service to the country and to the world has been longer than most people have been alive. That's the difference. I was looking at some footage from 1961 where he was visiting Pakistan, which was a totally different country back then, and engaging with the communities at a cricket match, at various different functions. And it made me wonder that actually, he was the father of the Commonwealth. That should have been his title, because he was so integrated with doing so much, not just in the UK, but across the world. And I have 2 very special guests, and I really wanted to thank them, but both of them. That's Adiba Malik she's from Bradford, CBE, MBE. Adiba, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us today. And we also have Uday Dalakia, a local businessman involved in LABA and OBE, who I want you to share. First of all, Uday, thank you very much for joining us.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. And we wanted to share their insights into meeting the royals and engaging with the royals, and how they think the royal family has made a difference to the lives of people from the Asian community in the UK. So first of all, I'll go to Adiba. So Adiba, what do you do, and how have you experienced the royal family?
So what I do is I'm Deputy Chief Executive of a charity that's 30 years old, based in Bradford, but does work across the country, and has also actually done some work in Europe and in Pakistan, where we are supporting and ensuring that there's economic and social integration of ethnic minority communities, mainly communities from the subcontinent. So we deliver lots of projects. We work with the public, private, voluntary sector organisations to support them with diversity in workforce and attracting them as potential customers as well. So that's one kind of a part of my work. And then the other part is I serve on various advisory boards I have done across Whitehall over many years, as well as various charities as well.
So you're really the voice of the Asian community on lots of different boards. And how have you experienced the royal family? Obviously, you must have, when you went and collected your MBE and various garden parties, no doubt.
I'm actually very privileged, because I've been to a whole range of events over the years. So on 2 occasions, yes, you're right, I collected my MBE and CBE, which is given to me by Prince Charles. I've been to numerous garden parties. I was very honoured to be one of the 50 people in the UK to be invited to celebrate the Queen's 80th birthday at a dinner with the royal family at Mansion House in London. I've also, just actually over a year ago, Prince William and Kate came to Bradford, and I was invited to meet them and speak to them. So that was a real privilege. And I've also met Princess Anne, and I've actually briefly met Prince Philip as well in the past. And I've been at a number of events that the Queen's been at over many years.
And
so I've had a lot of opportunities to be at an event with them.
And how have you found them? How is the interaction? Have they been interested, and what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, when I met Kate and William a year ago, they were fantastic. They really were. They'd just been to Pakistan and they came to Bradford because they were interested in learning about how communities work and live with one another. And they were just genuinely very, very interested in what was being said. So I was just one of people. They made various visits to different projects. But because of their follow-up from their trip to Pakistan, and because Bradford's got a large Pakistani community, it was a natural progression from, going from Pakistan in November and then coming to Bradford in January. So they were very interested. And when I spoke to Prince Charles when I collected my CBE, I thanked him for the wonderful work that he does with the communities and how much the Muslim community in particular appreciates what he does. So they've been very engaged and very interested, and they're very knowledgeable as well. Their experience and their experience for so many years of engaging with different people of different backgrounds, not just the Muslim community, but so many different types of people. It holds them in a very powerful position in being able to have the opportunity to mix and talk with so many different people.
And do you feel it has highlighted your cause and your campaigns and your issues and raising them because of the recognition that they've given you, and the fact that they have so much time to visit Pakistan and come to I think they were also at My Lahore, one of the restaurants there, and if I'm not mistaken, they were serving somebody or made something. I'm not sure exactly what. Maybe you can enlighten us with that.
I know they came to My Lahore restaurant, which is a chain of restaurants. Basically, they I think Kate or William made some lassi and drank some of that, and met people there as well. I think our work is very important because our work, QED's work, is very much about, the supporting communities to integrate into British society, but integrate through getting into work, getting them into senior positions, skilling them, giving them the opportunities. And, I think that the Royal Family has so many different causes that it's interested in. Prince Philip was very much interested in the environment, conservation, sport. His range of interest was very wide, and I think that applies to a lot of them. And that's what's quite interesting about the Royal Family, because there'll be most causes that will be close to people's hearts, which will be supported by a member of the Royal Family, whether it's the Queen or her children or her grandchildren, but that support is there. So I think when you've got members of the Royal Family supporting these kinds of causes, it just makes those causes more stronger in terms of getting more highlight and more recognition. And mental health is a very good example at the moment, where William, Kate and Harry showed a lot of support towards that.
Thank you, Deepa. You're listening to Radio Ramadan 87.9 FM. If you've got any questions, you can call in, or you can send us a WhatsApp message, and the WhatsApp number is 0774 8855 055. So it's 077 488 55055. So please send in your WhatsApp questions, or if you've met the Queen, or if you've met any of the royal families, or been to the garden party, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Adiba, one of the things that I remember certainly of that famous visit between William and Kate to Pakistan is lots of the front pages of the media, British media, Sawar Kameez, the Tuk Tuk, and lots of different things, and it really portrayed Pakistan in a positive light. And I think, did you feel that reached a real positive resonance with the British public?
Yeah, I think that trip, I actually was very fortunate. It's funny because I've always said that if I ever met Prince William and Kate, I wanted to thank them for going to Pakistan. And when they came to Bradford, I managed to do that. And they actually said that they loved the trip, and I'm not repeating anything that's private because it was in the press, what I'd said and what they'd said. So they really loved the opportunity. And I think what it did, it just showed that, because Pakistan's got huge tourism potential, and unfortunately, whether it's the media or whether, which quite often actually is the media that's given it a projection of it not being a very safe place to go. Whereas I think Kate and William's trip there really, really put Pakistan on the map. It put Pakistan on the map for a number of reasons. One, it showed that actually, it's safe. And if we've got members of the royal family coming over, it's a good place to be. The fact that Kate made the effort with the outfits, as Diana did before her, the fact that they went to visit Imran Khan's hospital and all these kind of various projects, education, conservation out in the mountains in the north. It just showed that Pakistan is so diverse, and that diversity of what the country's about was reflected in the various things that they did and visited. So I think it really helped create a very positive image. And I think, the whole of that trip was a massive success. It was a really big success. They clearly enjoyed it. You could see on their faces that they had a wonderful time.
Yeah, and it sent a huge positive vibe across the UK with their trip because, like I said, all the national media, all the sort of normal, all the tabloids, everything was being positive about Pakistan and their visit, and it was just so refreshing to see.
Yeah, that's right. I know that a lot of the kind of photographs that came out of the trip were fantastic, very beautiful. I know that they thought it was great.
And do you think that's one of the reasons why, because lots of Asian community, lots of people in the UK think, oh well, what's the royal family got to do with us? What link have we got with the royal family? But they obviously feel that they have a link with countries like Pakistan and India and the subcontinent.
I don't know, Sattar, because I think a lot of the Asian community that I talk to actually like the royal family, and I'm not talking about people in my line of work, but I'm talking about very much grassroots people, and I saw that very evident when they came to Bradford because I was stood at the top of the town hall steps when they were out in the crowds mixing. And there were so many people from the Asian community in the crowds. So, I saw a lot of people from the white community there, but I really did see a big proportion of the communities coming out when they went to visit the various projects. There were large numbers of people from the communities who were there. So I think there is a sense of appeal. And I think the fact that when you get the younger royals or any actual member of the royals making visits to other countries, part of the Commonwealth, whether it's Pakistan or anywhere else, I think what it does, it creates a connection for the people living in this country whose origins are from those countries. That there's a connection, and it's a connection to the royal family because they feel, well, actually they've made the effort to visit our country of origin. They've appreciated what it's about, just even the fact that you had Kate and Diana adapting their dress to the local custom. The very powerful messages that are given out. And I think people from various minority communities do appreciate that.
When you saw the crowd and so many of the ethnic diversity of the crowd, did that surprise you, or did you think that was okay? Was that what you expected?
No, it didn't actually. No, not really. It didn't. I think they're very popular, and I think part of it was because it just been followed by a trip to Pakistan, and I think that made a big difference. So, no, actually, it didn't surprise me because I know a lot of people from the Asian community up and down the country who are big fans of the royal family.
Yeah.
And would do anything to try and get the opportunity to meet them. So I think that it's funny, because as of the first time I ever had the opportunity of meeting a royal face to face ever was actually 1977 when it was the Queen's Silver Jubilee, and she came to Leeds, and I was one of 4 children from my school that was selected to go to Leeds United Football Stadium and sit there and see the Queen be driven around the stadium in an open car. And that was my very first experience of coming across, having that opportunity to be invited to an event with a royal.
Fantastic. Absolutely excellent to hear. You're listening to Radio Ramadan 87.9 FM. Our WhatsApp number is 077 488 55055. If you've got any experiences of the royal family or you wanted to make any comments, please do send us a message. That'd be great. Adiba, one of the things that you just touched on, which was really, really sort of struck me, is they respect the culture of our countries, of those countries that they visit, and they respect the religious dynamics, the people dynamics, and I think that endears them to a population, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're very well briefed, aren't they? they're probably very well briefed about, what to do and what not to do, and what to expect, what not to expect, what it's like. The people who have a great experience of traveling the world, and not just going as tourists, but going as people who really get the opportunity to talk to people, visit places, talk to, the leaders of those countries. So they're very well informed about what to expect, what the situation is, how to conduct, what. So, for example, they went to the mosque, the Baisha Mosque in Lahore. Kate knew that she had to wear a scarf on her head, take the shoes off. So they're well informed of all, what to do and what not to do. And that's how it should be, showing respect and understanding of people, of a country you're going to, and saying, well, actually, this is what we need you to do to be respectful to that nation.
Yes, I mean, they really give that a vibe of that positive role models, not just for the UK, but across the Commonwealth, really, about mutual respect for whoever's religion and whoever's culture, really.
That's right, yeah.
And last week, I know I was in the car and my wife called me and said Prince Philip has passed away. Where were you and how did you feel when that news came?
I was at work actually, and I just I get what's it called on the BBC News, the headlines coming up, the news flash, and that's where I learned that he passed away. Actually, to be honest, if you want my understanding, I wasn't surprised because I just thought he'd been in hospital, and I just don't know. I just felt that it didn't feel right. He was been here for a while, not been well, and I was saddened, obviously, but not surprised.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I thought that, I was just praying. Actually, I was praying during those few weeks while he was in hospital that he makes it to his 100th birthday, just so that he could actually reach that landmark. Because I just felt that he deserved that little bit more, if you understand what I mean. And I think lots of people had that sentiment. Did you feel the same?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were rooting for him to get to 100, but it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, and finally, I just wanted to. We've got a few minutes left. I just wanted to ask you. The trip to Bradford and Kate and William last year. How did it? In 2019, sorry. How did it make the vibe feel in the city? And what was the coverage like in the media and people who you spoke to after their visit? What were people saying?
I think so. I think it got a huge amount of media attention because I don't know whether something had happened between the two brothers just before that. I'm just trying to remember. I can't remember what had happened.
But it was certainly
something
in the spotlight at the time. Yeah. Yeah.
So this was then their first public engagement in the new year of in 2019. So this was their big first public engagement, and like I said, it was in the context of the feud between the two brothers. I can't really recall what that was, but something had kicked off. So the media coverage was huge. There was, so much press. It hit the headlines. It was in Hello magazine, and it just received a lot of kind of publicity. But it was great because it put Bradford in a very positive spotlight. It showed what Bradford was actually about, welcoming the royal couple, appreciating them, making a visit here. It's really funny because when I was told that I was going to be invited to meet somebody very important just before Christmas and to keep a date in my diary, I didn't actually realise it was going to be them. I thought actually it might be the Prime Minister who might be coming to Bradford. So they were not the couple I was expecting at all to be here. Maybe another member of the... Actually, I even thought maybe Prince Charles, but I didn't expect Kate and William to be coming. So when I was told a few days before it's them, I was just absolutely delighted. And I thought, you know what, if I get the opportunity to speak to them, I will say to them, thank you for coming to Bradford and thank you for going to Pakistan. And I did.
Yeah, I think it made a huge difference on the sort of UK national stage because Bradford was seen as a much positive place, as you know, the Kate and William has visited Bradford and they were making lassi in this restaurant. It made it all of a sudden real because lots of people go to different restaurants, and it really had that vibe about it that actually, you know, Kate and William were interested in the Pakistani community as well as everybody else.
Yeah, that's right. No, they got a flavour of what Bradford was about: food, projects, young people, ethnic communities, beautiful buildings that they were in the town hall. Yeah, so they really got a sense of what the district was about on so many fronts.
It really, really good to hear you know, such a positive vibe coming from their visits, and I suppose it was the same for Prince Philip when he visited different cities and different countries across the world. It must have been the same sort of atmosphere in lots and lots of these places, and he's been doing the same service for 73 years. And you know, I was thinking the other day, that's longer than most people have been alive, and he's been doing that as a job almost for 73 years. And I was just amazed. And you know, how do you feel about his sort of record of achievement? Because I think I don't know how many times he visited Pakistan, but over 2,000 foreign visits.
He was probably one of the most active. Well, I mean, he will be because of his age as well. So speaking engagement visits. Actually, my would you believe this? My mother was in Lahore when Prince Philip and the Queen came to Lahore in 1961.
Wow.
She saw them.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's a real interesting story because she saw, and my mother's seen the Queen on a number of occasions over the years in the royal family. She's a big fan of the royal family, massive fan of the royal family. So she saw them both when they came to Lahore back in 61. I think, you know, the record speaks for itself. He did all of this in terms of his engagement, patronage, charity supporting, visits, international, local, regional, whatever it is. But I think the biggest thing is, I think, for me personally, the fact that he supported the Queen the way that he did. I think that's his biggest achievement.
It's a massive achievement, and you know, huge legacy that he's left in various different arenas of work that he's done, the environment, conservation, lots of things. When it wasn't even popular, he was doing that kind of thing. And that sort of surprised me, thinking, well, we're talking about environmental issues now in 2020, 2021. He was doing it in 1970, 1965 and 1960 when nobody had heard anything like this.
That's right.
And you know, and I you know, credit to the royal family for the way they engage with their communities and the Commonwealth, because it will only make them more and more popular. And you know, the visits like you talk about with William and Kate make them more popular in a place like Bradford, doesn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, but it's not just that. I mean, it's just, you know, it's all the work that they've done over the years. I think it's commendable, very much so.
Excellent, thank you. We've only got a minute or so before we finish this segment of the program. I just wanted to say a big thank you to you, Adiba, for coming on. Really appreciate you coming on. Any final thoughts about you know, Prince Philip and the royal family, and why we should all really look up and make sure that, you know, we engage and make sure that they carry on with their positive role models and you know, engage with the communities?
Just to say that, I mean, I did watch the funeral yesterday, and I thought it was very somber, very personal. I think it was beautiful on so many fronts, and very respectful. And you know, it's a very sad time for the family.
Yeah.
You know, they've lost a father, a husband, a grandfather. But I think the thing I'd also say is that, you know, they've been very blessed, and he was very blessed as well for living the life that he did.
Thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Please join us after the break. Thank you, Adiba Malik. Really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. on 87.9 FM. I'm your host, Zafar Haq. This is the Memory Lane Show. We are talking about the royal family. We're talking about the royal family and Prince Philip and the sad loss of Prince Philip last week. You can send us a message if you want on WhatsApp. Our number is 077 488 55055, and any messages that you want to put on there, any experience of the royal family, any visits to the Houses of Parliament or Buckingham Palace, any meeting of the royal family would be great to hear from you. We have Uday Dilokia OBE on the line at the moment. Uday, good morning to you.
Morning.
How I know you've been in Leicester for a long time, very active in the business community, done a lot of work both internationally and nationally. How have you engaged and how have you found the royal family, and have you actually met Prince Philip?
Yes, I did. First of all, Zafazi, thank you very much for inviting me on your show. I have three contributions to make today, if I may. First is memory of Prince Philip. Secondly is the affection. And to round off the conversation, something about reflecting on the mood. In terms of memories, Zafarji, I met Prince Philip, a part of Duke of Edinburgh's award in Brighton when I was studying with a dear friend of mine, Zia Khan. We cleaned up the cemeteries of World War I soldiers from the subcontinent, and also the Chatri Memorial outside Brighton, a marble monument to the soldiers from the subcontinent, which had a lot of graffiti on it. So we were invited to meet the Queen and Prince Philip, and there were about 100 children, 2 children from minority communities. We were just excited to be there. Didn't have any inclination that he would talk to me, but they went around, they picked up individual students to speak to, and he asked me what I did in terms of his award. And he asked me whether with a sense of humor, what part of the medical career I was going to pursue. And I said to him, I had no idea. I was just doing my O-levels then. So that was a fond memory. The other fond memory of Brighton school days was a certain Mr. Imran Khan, who is a Prime Minister of India, used to be my cricket coach.
Pakistan, yeah. Yes.
In Hove. Imran used to tell me that you're not going to make a cricketer, you'll make a good politician. So I think I failed on both counts. So that's my memory in terms of meeting the Queen and Prince Philip. In terms of affection, I like to talk about the pride barometer, the tachometer that our communities have. When the Queen and Prince Philip visited Leicester, a lot of my colleagues said, well, it's nothing to do with us. It's the good and the great and the usual VIPs who engage with them, and they'll disappear in a couple of hours. But then I noticed a strange phenomenon. Every time you go abroad, the further you go abroad, further you go away from Leicester, the more proud you become about Leicester, the more proud you become of our communities, the more proud you become about the Queen visiting, the Prince Philip visiting our city. To give you an example, I've had telephone conversations this morning with friends and family in subcontinent, in Dubai, in Africa, in Malawi in particular, and they were just amazed at how smooth the funeral was conducted, arranged. They hadn't seen anything like that in terms of precision, in terms of modesty, in terms of the affection that people who had no connection with England or the royal family around the world felt for them. So in terms of affection, I think it's very proud that our community has connection with the royal families. And I, in my modest ability, had the privilege of hosting Prince Andrew to visit one of factories, Co-Fresh Snack Foods in Leicester. Again, it wasn't about the royalty, it's about his then role as promoting international trade for British companies. In terms of reflection, um, it is such a privilege in terms of the opportunities that our communities have coming to this country, that even the head of state and a consort used to visit our communities on a regular basis, the civic dignity that our communities have been given, and recognition for people like Adibaji, who was on the radio show earlier on, and people like yourself as well, who do a lot of work with the medical communities and our communities in the city. I sometimes feel had we been back home, would we had this sort of opportunities to make the change in society we live in? So in context of even Princess Diana visiting Leicester, an opportunity to shake her hands, those are fond memories, those are privileged memories, and I'm absolutely delighted to be on your radio show to share some of these thoughts.
Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate those really, really touching thoughts. Uday, please stay on. We've got a very, very special guest coming on as well. We've got all the way from Pakistan, His Excellency Nafeez Zachary, former High Commissioner of Pakistan, based in the UK, is in Pakistan. Please, thank you very much for calling us. Nafeez Saab, Assalamu alaikum to you.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for
Sattar.
joining us. Really appreciate it. Just to ask you, where are you at the moment, and what's the weather like in Pakistan?
Well, I'm in Islamabad these days. I have, after completing my tenure as High Commissioner for Pakistan to United Kingdom. So I returned last year, and I'm based in Islamabad these days. And it's definitely, this is an occasion I would like to avail, first of all, to express my profound condolences to the royal family, as well as to the people of United Kingdom on the sad demise of Duke of Edinburgh, with whom I have very fond memories, actually.
And Nafeez Saab, in Pakistan, have people been sad to hear the loss of Prince Philip, and has there been some ceremonies just to mark his passing?
Well, United Kingdom has a very special place in the hearts of the people of Pakistan. So especially the royal family, because the association of the people of Pakistan with the royal family dates back to many, many decades now. If you remember, in 961, Her Majesty visited Pakistan. Then she visited again in 97. I was High Commissioner when the Prince William also visited Pakistan. These are very happy occasions on which people of Pakistan always take pride and cherish those moments. And there are many other family members of royal family have visited Pakistan on a number of occasions. So there's a long list of royal visits to Pakistan, and we take huge pride and definitely cherish those memories.
Nafeez Saab, you were here and in your tenure as the British High Commissioner when Kate and William visited Pakistan, and it was a very, very famous visit. It was absolutely on every single front page of all the newspapers for days. Lots of positive publicity came out of that, and really put Pakistan on the world map for lots and lots of different reasons. For the cultural reasons and everything else. And you were part of that, organising that visit. And how was it for you to be part of that? And how did you find dealing with the royal family?
Well, it was a moment of great joy for me, and definitely, professionally speaking, a great achievement, because it happened during my tenure. And soon after I actually assumed charge of the High Commissioner post in London, and I had interaction with the British the Royal Palace, and we started preparing for the royal visit to Pakistan, and there was great excitement in Pakistan. Because this visit was taking place after a long time. And of course, the association and the affiliation of the people of Pakistan and the government of Pakistan, especially of the Prime Minister of Pakistan, with the royal couple, you know that during Princess Diana's visit to Pakistan, Prince William was very young, and he very vividly remember his visit to Pakistan. I had the honor of meeting him personally, the couple personally, and we had very exclusive meeting, myself and my wife, and we discussed the bilateral relations as well as the royal visits and the visit of this they themselves prior to the visit, a few days prior to the visit, was very, very significant for me, professionally speaking. And of course, the impact, as you very rightly said, had put Pakistan on the world map because the coverage was so wide that Pakistan's name was in every top of the line newspapers, media houses, and the periodicals. So it was a highly, publicized visit. It actually was, a visit that Pakistan was looking forward to for quite some time, and I'm very happy that I had the honor of, being the High Commissioner at that time when the visit took place. And of course, I also presented my credentials in 2019, and I had the honor of.
Can you just explain what that's about? Because I know some of it, but just explain, because you're in an open drawn carriage and you go to the palace. Just explain, what happens.
Well, that is something when
special.
I cannot. This is the most remarkable time of my professional life, because this was a huge event for me, for my family, for my wife, and of course for the High Commission as well as all the Pakistanis in United Kingdom. It was very exciting to be on the carriage which was sent by the palace, which took me and my wife to palace along with my 4 colleagues. And as High Commissioner, part of the Commonwealth family, we go for we are provided with 4 horses. It's a carriage of 4 horses. So this is another distinction that I had, and of course meeting the most I would say iconic figure of history, the Queen of England, was itself a great feat for me, a great moment for me and for my wife to be in her audience. And I had, I would say, I had been very lucky that I had perhaps, according to people, one of the very long meetings that the audience I had with Her Majesty, because it went on for about more than 20 minutes. And she very fondly remembered her visit to Pakistan. And I did one thing which she liked a lot, that I presented to her an album, special album of her visits to Pakistan. And she was so much interested that's why this audience, the duration of the audience was longer than the usual one.
And you mentioned that it must have been an incredible feeling. You will remember that for the rest of your lifetime as one of your moments in history. And people in the UK, Asian communities, they don't always see the relevance, but you feel the relevance at every moment, and you've really expressed it really, really well. And to have an audience with the Queen and talk to her for 20 minutes. For you, obviously, it's had that impression on you for the rest of your life, hasn't it?
Yes, of course, because this is what I said, that I had been a privileged person as a High Commissioner to have such a long audience with with Her Majesty, and actually, definitely, we have this memory preserved in the shape of photographs with us, and they now adorn my sitting area in my home. So this is something right now when I'm speaking to you, I'm looking at the photograph of me presenting my credentials to Her Majesty.
Wow! Yes.
Right across the wall.
Yeah.
So this is something really, and of course that the at the public's level, at the people's level, the kind of affiliation that the connectivity that we have with the people of United Kingdom, the government and the royal family is something, of course, unique in every sense, because we don't have such a large diaspora anywhere except in Saudi Arabia. It is only after Saudi Arabia where we have such a huge diaspora in United Kingdom. And then people have really been flourished. People have flourished who went from Pakistan, immigrated from Pakistan long time back. And over the years, these people became the strongest bond between the two countries and the people of the two countries as well. And they really play their very significant role in promoting the business, government-to-government relationship bilaterally. I must tell you that Pakistanis have done wonders in the United Kingdom in terms of the contribution to the economy, to the services, to the various sectors, especially to the health sector. We have a very big doctors community over there. We have engineers, we have scientists. Name any sector or walk of life, we the Pakistanis are there and making their contribution very significantly.
Makes a huge difference, and actually also, Nafisab, it's only because people like you are there to support the Pakistan community of the UK, and you did a fantastic job while you were here as the High Commissioner. You know, I'm followed after this show by a group of doctors, Pakistani doctors, and there's, as you said, a huge contribution across the country in many fields. Just one question: did you ever think the Kate and William and Kate visit to Pakistan was going to be as big and successful as it turned out to be?
Well, I must say that it was really, I would say that I could not definitely, make an estimation of the kind of projection it will get, but I was very sure because the couple is not just famous in Pakistan. They are famous in their own country. They are liked very much, and they are actually liked everywhere else. So I was sure that this is going to really lift the relationship between Pakistan and the United Kingdom. I must also emphasize there is a very strong link between Pakistan and United Kingdom, which is the education sector, because we follow the British education system in Pakistan.
Yes.
And at any given time, we have more than 40,000 Pakistani students pursuing their PhDs or master's degree or undergrad programs. So this is a very significant population in the context of acquiring education. And then they return to Pakistan. They actually benefit Pakistan in terms of their expertise and the knowledge that they acquire in the great country of great United Kingdom.
Thank you very much, Nafisa. Really appreciate you coming on air. Really appreciate your time. And thank you very much for being such a great High Commissioner for Pakistan in the UK. Lots of people, positive comments from lots of different people over the last 12 months since you've gone from there. So please keep up the great work for Pakistan and for the communities that you serve. Thank you very much.
I'm really humbled, and Zafar, I want to also thank you for being someone in whom Pakistan takes great pride. And myself, I know that your contributions in promoting the relationship. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you very much for all the listeners today. You're listening to Radio Ramadan 87.9 FM. Thank you to Uday Delakia, and thank you for all my guests today.